Hello, good evening. Welcome back to the lecture series on IBD Module 2. So, today we are going to understand some of the concepts under globalization. So, now let's begin with the meaning of globalization. Globalization refers to the shift toward a more integrated and interdependent world economy. It includes globalization of market, integration of production, etc. The globalization of production and globalization of market. There are two concepts. Globalization of market refers to the merging historically distinct and separate national markets into one huge global marketplace. There is cross border trade that has made easier under the globalization. Globalization of production refers to the sourcing of goods and services from locations around the globe to take advantage of national differences in the cost and quality of factors of production. Now let's have the more clarity about the meaning of globalization. Globalization is the closer integration of the countries and people of the world brought about by the enormous reduction in the costs of transportation and communication and the breaking down of artificial barriers to the flow of goods and services, capital, knowledge, and people across the borders. This is the very well known definition to the meaning of globalization. So now let's move on to the next concept under the globalization is modes of entering international business. So I have quoted here 9 modes of the MNCs to go for global: exporting, international licensing, franchising, contract manufacturing, management contracts, turnkey projects, FDI, alliances like mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures. So these are the 9 modes of any international company to enter international business. Now let's understand the modes one by one. So now first one is exporting modes. So under the exporting international business, under which we have direct exports, indirect exports. In indirect exports, this is a mode to enter into the foreign market. The manufacturer uses independent export intermediaries located in foreign countries. So they produce in one country. So through their intermediaries, the goods and services will be exported to intermediaries. And those intermediaries will be having customers, and they are supplying those goods and services to the customers in foreign land. That is indirect export. Indirect exporters take on the duties of intermediaries and make direct contact with the customers in the foreign market, in the foreign land. The representative office can act as a salesman for foreign trade contracts in the foreign location. So we have certain advantages and disadvantages of the exporting mode. Low entry cost. So we are not able to establish our manufacturing center there. So infrastructure has to be created. So that is not there here. Low financial risk. Huge finance is not required to export the goods and services to the foreign countries. Entry difficulties are light on the domestic intermediaries. There are good intermediaries who are having the knowledge and expertise in marketing, so with which we could able to sell the goods in the foreign land. Low staffing requirements. So these are the advantages of export modes. Now we cannot ignore certain disadvantages also we have. Low profitability of the transactions, because the profitability we cannot expect more profit. So we are entirely depending on the domestic or foreign intermediaries in the host country. Lack of knowledge of the foreign company on the part of the foreign market. Inability to gain the international experience. Let's have an example. The Austrian energy drink Red Bull entered Australia using direct exports as its NC mode. It is a leading energy drink brand in Australian market, holding a 36% of market share. Second important entry mode, licensing. Here there is a contract between the licensor and licensee. Here the licensor will grant an organization in the foreign market a license to produce the product and use the brand name, etc. In return, that they will receive a royalty payment. In the international licensing, so as I told you, it is an agreement, it is a contract between the licensee and licensor. Licensor has given the license to the licensee in the foreign market to produce the commodities in the name of the brand. So this property is generally intelligence, intangible. It is not tangible. Includes trademarks could be used in the foreign market. Patent of a licensor could be used. Production techniques that could be used by the licensee in the foreign land to produce the goods and services and supply them in their native market. For example, British American Tobacco Company has given the licenses in many countries for the manufacture of their brand of cigarettes 555. In India, ITC is the licensed producer of 555. So it is BAT's product. Okay, 555 product belonging to British American Tobacco Company. So we produce in India by the ITC. Pepsi Cola granted license to Heineken of the Netherlands, giving them the exclusive right to produce and sell Pepsi Cola in Netherlands. So these are some of the examples as far as international licensing is concerned. Reasons for international licensing: obtain extra income, for technical knowledge and services what we have, what we possess. Reach new market not accessible by export from existing facilities. Quick expand without much risk. Large capital investment is not required. pave the way for the future investment in the market. These are the reasons why international licensing is being carried, is being advantageous. Another important, the modes re-entry into the international business is franchising. It is a contract between the franchisor and franchisee under which a semi-independent business owner, that is franchisee, pays fees and royalty to the franchisor to use the franchisor's trademark and sell its product and services in the land belonging to the franchisee. So we talk about international franchising. Sale of the rights by the domestic franchisor to conduct the commercial activities by a foreign franchisee as far as international franchising is concerned. So now let's have few examples of international franchising. Subway, 7-Eleven, Pizza Hut and McDonald's are just a few examples of organizations that have been successful in using franchising in the foreign market as an entry mode. So, international franchising has certain advantages: low entry cost, so it does not require huge expenses to enter into the foreign market, the possibility of rapid foreign expansion of the business, the possibility of a sample expansion of both trade and distant trade in the distant locations or market. So we have certain disadvantages also. Sharing profits gained from the foreign market between the foreign franchisee and a domestic franchisor is not so easy. So we could not even expect, you could not even have the data what would be the advantages, what would be the profit gained by the franchisee in the foreign market. It requires appropriate qualifications of franchisees, so we do not get qualified and expert franchisees in the foreign land. It is difficult. The possibility of potential conflict between the partners, between the franchisee and franchisor. So these could be probably the disadvantages or limitations under the international franchising. Another modes of international company to enter into the foreign market is management contracting. So it's a legal contract. It is a legal contract whereby the type of knowledge based service of management that grants operational control of a business initiative to a separate group. The managerial group executes the necessary tasks in the exchange for negotiated fees. Okay, management contract can involve the accomplishment of business tasks as well as outsourcing, such as the tasks to subcontracting. So these tasks can include the technical support, personal management support, marketing support, sales, training and accounting support would be extended by a company in the foreign land to the knowledge based service company. Hotel management contracts in Asia. Many hotels operate under the management contracts arrangements. So as they can more easily obtain economies of scale, the global reservation systems, brand recognition, etc. Example, OYO hotels. Construction of management contracts, artist management contract. So these are the examples. So now, so let's have a clear understanding how the management contract is being taken place. The bike has been operating hotels for over 26 years, and management contract is also available for interested hotel owners across India. Once we step in, each hotel is paid with a team of professionals who know our brand inside and outside, and technical knowledge how to best leverage the bike culture. We will help you to set up the pre-opened process. We, along with our professional team members, will fill the hotel with warmth and homely delight when your hotel is up and running. That means professional management staff. The management service is rendered to the hotel owner. It's a negotiation between the service expertise who could able to provide the service to the hotel owners. In return, the owner has to give some fees. Okay, so this is the management contract. Advantages: low cost commitment, so we need not invest anything. Service providers or technical expertise company like bike, which is investing in providing the services on behalf of the owner. Low risk at all. Gaining experience on the foreign markets by domestic managers can be regarded as substitute from the foreign market entry. So instead of entering into the foreign market, so we could do our business in the foreign land, foreign countries, with having the contract that is called management contract. They manage our business in the foreign land. They are service providers. Disadvantages: relatively low profitability because we do not have any control over the service providers management expertise. Turnkey projects. Turnkey project, it is an agreement between the exporter and importer under which the exporter undertakes to execute the contracted investment in a given period of time in accordance with the requirements of the buyer, as a result transferring the complete investment. Here, a turnkey project contract strategy means the contract is reasonable for all of the work required to deliver the product to the client, ready for the client to start the product. So the project has taken up and it could be completed within the time frame. So in return, the contractor is going to get some monetary benefits. For example, buying a new car, an oxygen plant supplied and installed in a pharmaceutical facility, petrochemical facilities, the water purification plant supplied and installed in a mining industry, mine or any industry, the project to provide the water purification activities in the mining location, mining plant. That is a turnkey operations. Any complete construction of any industrial plant in foreign land. So these are the examples of turnkey project. Once the project has to be completed on fee basis. Now let's have the clear understanding of the turnkey operations. Turnkey operation assumes the responsibility for the design and construct entire the project, entire operations. In return, the completion of the project, the company receives a fees. Turnkey generally involve the project such as the construction of roads, construction of dam, construction of a factory complex, construction of a refinery, chemical plant, which could be undertaken by a company. After completing, it could be handed over to the real owner. The, the company which has involved in completing the project, so they'll be getting some monetary benefit. They receive fees for that, for rendering all these services. Take an example, service road, nice road from Bangalore to Mysore. So it has been constructed and they are collecting the fees, they are collecting tolls in the road. Who are using the road, they are giving the tolls. So that will be the fees for some years. It is a contract between the construction company and the government of Karnataka. So up to certain period of time, say 20 years or 30 years, whatever the toll fee that could able to generate, all these 30 years could be utilized by a construction company. So after that, the project has to be given back to the government. So this is the concept of turnkey project. Let's have the clear understanding with one more example. Hitachi builds international industrial plants such as clean rooms, factories for pharmaceuticals, food and chemicals, with a track record of operations in the Republic of Singapore and other parts of Asian continent in particular that dates back more than 30 years. Hitachi builds the project and given back to the owner and getting the fees. So this is called something about project. It has been turned and key has to be handed over to the owner. Advantages: potential higher profit, chance of permanent presence in the foreign countries, foreign land after completing the investment, ability to earn return from the technologies in advanced countries where the foreign direct investment is completely restricted. Okay, some the companies which are already providing construction service in the foreign land, so they provide the service for us and they construct the project. Okay, we are not investing directly into the construction activities. So we have certain disadvantages also. It requires huge cost. A form of difficulty implementing the project, turnkey projects. It is high financial risk. So these are the disadvantages. Another important modes to entry into the international business is contract manufacturing. A contractual agreement between a company and foreign producer, under which foreign producer manufactures the company's product, is called contract manufacturing. So in this, it is one of the ways by which the firm can enter into the global market or foreign land. In contract manufacturing, a firm finds a suitable manufacturer in the foreign country it wants to enter into. This manufacturer can be hired by the firm to produce its product in the foreign land locally. Many industries use this process, especially aerospace, defense, computer, semiconductor, energy, medical and food manufacturing, personal care, packaging, and automobile fields. We do find this type of contracting. So let's have a clear understanding of the contract manufacturing with an examples. Microsoft's Xbox game machine is made by Fluxtronic Corporation. Fluxtronic Corporation, it is a huge company with factories around the world, nearly 15 US dollar, 15 billion US dollar in sales in 2004. It is a huge company. Okay, it produces Xbox game machine. in the foreign land belonging to Microsoft. Flextronics also makes cell phones for Ericsson, routers for Cisco, and printers for HP in the foreign company, in the foreign land, foreign market. So this is the type of contract existed between the uh, a company with that of the foreign company. Joint venture is a branding contract between two venture partners to set up a project either in home country or in the or host countries or in third countries. In this case, both parties are committed to jointly take up the risk, take up the investmental activities, and finally, both are involved in certain projects by investing, taking risk. Committedly, they are acting towards the construction of certain business operations either in the home country or foreign country or in third countries. And finally, whatever the profit they earn with jointly having the business operations in the foreign land or in the home country or in the host country. So that is called joint venture program. The Taj Group of Hotels has a joint venture in Russia for setting up five-star hotels in Russia. Mahindra and Mahindra has recently entered into a joint venture with Renault to manufacturing cars. HDFC with Standard Life Insurance Company in UK. Wipro has jointly undertaking the electronic production of electronics in US, General Electronics of US company US. TVS has entered into the joint venture with Suzuki in producing the two-wheelers, etc. So now let's look into the advantages and disadvantages of joint venture program. Synergy effect, because two or more companies jointly having the business operation, huge the risk could be shared, huge investment could be possible. A combination of knowledge of the exporter and the local partner, by which utmost good quality products will be produced and made available to the foreign companies, foreign land. Spreading the risk between the two partners. Good image of such company on the local market could be utilized in the foreign land. So we have certain disadvantages also. High entry cost will be there. There will be huge risks to do the business operations with the joint venture of the foreign company in foreign land. There will be conflict with the interest of the exporters and importers. Complicated registration procedures because we do the business in host country or in third countries by having the joint venture. Now mergers and acquisitions. Sherman Hart defined the merger as a combination of two or more companies in which the assets and liabilities of the selling firms are absorbed by the buying firm. Although buying firm may be considerably different organization, after the merger it retains its original identity. An acquisition, according to Krishnamurti and Vishwanath, it is the purchase of by one company, that is called acquirer, of a substantial part of the assets or the securities of another company, that is called target company. So let's have a look into the some of the examples as far as mergers and acquisitions are concerned. Procter and Gamble entered Mexico and become leaders in 5 years by acquiring Loreto. Tata Bearing acquired Metal Box in India. The global steel king Yalan Mittal was successful right from the first acquisition of steel mill in Indonesia. So such other examples we do have before us. Advantages: merge their power and control over the markets. Synergy, that is the magic power that allow for the increased value efficiencies of the new entity, and it takes the shape of return enrichment and cost savings. So we do find economies of scale because two or more companies are sharing the resources and services in the foreign company, thereby large scale production is happening. So that could be probably the more advantages for the mergers and acquisitions. Disadvantages: loss of experienced worker aside from the workers in leadership positions. As a result of mergers and acquisitions, employees of a small merging firm may require exhaustive reskilling of the employees. Company will face major difficulties thanks to the frictions and international competition that may occur among the staff of the united companies. There is conjointly a risk of getting surplus employees in some departments. So these are the disadvantages. So now let's look on to the another entry mode, wholly owned subsidiary. A wholly owned subsidiary is the process whereby an organization enters a foreign market with 100% ownership of the foreign entity. So it is a type of completely owned by completely the foreign subsidiary is completely owned by a company, by an entity in foreign land. So it has two strategies. One is greenfield investment and acquisitions. Greenfield investment is established of a new wholly owned subsidiary, fresh for the first time subsidiary of a company is going to establish in foreign country, foreign market. Acquisition is also the popular mode of entering into the foreign market, mainly due to its quick access to the foreign market. So this strategy offers the forecast fastest and the largest and initial international expansion of any alternative options before the company to enter into the foreign market easily, quickly. Advantages: merge their power and control over the markets. Synergy, that is the magic power that allow for increased value efficiencies of the new entity in the foreign market, and it takes the shape of returns enrichment and cost savings also. Finally, we could able to see the economies of scale. Yeah, fully controlled subsidiary company in the foreign market is controlled by a company holding centralized control, not to give any powers to the subsidiary. Whatever the major decisions would be taken in the headquarter. Good image of such a company on the local market. Potential the highest profitability for the company which owns the subsidiary in foreign market. Disadvantages: it is costly affair. Again, obviously, huge risk is involved. Complicated registration procedures we need to undergo. So all these three disadvantages we do find in the in this type of entry mode. So with this, we could stop in the next class we are going to understand certain aspects in the international business. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Stay home, stay safe, and be happy. Bye.